basketball team finished the district season undefeated at 14-0, headed as the #1 seed from that district into the playoffs, and they're now ranked 6th in the state according to the TGCA poll. I'm joined by their head coach, Michael Oldham. And Coach, it's been a successful regular season. You still haven't lost to any teams in 4A. A lot of confidence going into the playoffs. What's the key to making this a lengthy playoff run?
I think we just got to stay focused and stay with our system, do the things that we do, which is pressure defense, rebound the basketball, and, be patient on offense when we have to, and work on getting the shots that we practice day in and day out.
We mentioned going into district play that some of the teams in the district were a little bit lighter competition towards the back end, but some of the teams like Lovejoy and Wiley East, really as the season went on, they got stronger, and they provided you those tests that you need to make sure you keep sharp for the playoffs.
Yeah, Lovejoy's always been a battle for us, matchup-wise, and they've, gave us 2 good games. Wiley East in the second game this district go-around, they've really improved, getting a lot more physical. And they gave us a good game, and it was good for us going into the playoffs because 6 out of your 7 games to go to state is going to be grinders out, grinded out to a 4 or 5 point win possibly. So
in that Wiley East game, you only scored 49 points in that game. And a lot of games, when I look at who's leading your team in scoring, everybody's pretty even at the top. In that particular game, Mikayla Connor had 21. You're only player in double figures. What allowed her in that game to step up and be that leader offensively?
Well, we expect KK to be our leader. Expect her in big games to show up big, and she's done that all year. And in this particular game, I just kind of felt halfway through it that she was going to will us to win. She did a lot of that with offensive rebounding. I think she had 6 or 7 offensive boards that night. So she just kind of put us on her back, took the ball to the paint against their defense and scored. So I think she might have been 5 of 5 from the free throw line as well that night. So just having her step up, of course, is going to trickle down, and everybody else is going to step up. So.
What are some of the little things that you've been working on here towards the closing moments of the regular season so that when you're in the playoffs, you have that in your arsenal?
We've made some adjustments to our press. At this point in the year, everybody's seen it. Everybody's been working on press breaks and different things. So we made some adjustments to it. And we just continue to work on basketball things, getting better at defense, working on our defensive rotations, rebounding the basketball, and then always just doing a lot of shooting, so we can hit the shots that we get during the game.
When you talk to your players, obviously you're 23-4 on the season, so you've been a favorite in most of the games that you've played. What do you get a sense of do they feel that sort of pressure, that expectation to win? Does it ever weigh on them?
I don't think it weighs on them. These girls have had, high expectations on them most of them for 3 years. The kids that are coming into the program are all come from summer programs and different things that had high expectations where they were expected to win. Often their team's got a bullseye on their back, much like we do. So we just talk about having to go out and give our best effort every night and play to our standards, play to our expectations. That's what we look to do. And if we do that, we're going to be successful most nights.
Going into the playoffs, you're taking on Mount Pleasant here in the first round. They're one of the teams from East Texas that you don't get to see at all during the regular season. With what knowledge you have of them, what are you expecting for this game tonight?
I expect them to be very competitive. They've played, they played more East Texas teams. So like you said, it's kind of tough to get a lot of information on them. They've got a couple good guards. They got a 6'1" post girl that we're going to have to block out, rebound against, and basically the key to us winning is going to be playing our game, pressuring, and hitting the open shots. So that's kind of how I look for it to go tonight.
Looking at your region in the bracket, you have a potential second round matchup with Red Oak, just like you had last season, and Red Oak beat you by 6 in that game. So I know that the whole season, a lot of your players who have probably been looking forward to wanting a rematch to avenge what happened in the second round last season.
I'm sure after we get tonight taken care of and can start talking about our next opponent, Red Oak most likely will come up, and I know the girls will really be looking forward to a rematch with them because, I know we've talked about that game throughout the year at different times. And, I know that the girls will want to set that right on Friday night.
You have a lot of good teams in the bracket in this region, as always. Arlington Seguin's the number 8 team in the area, according to the last ranking. And then you have on the other side of the region possible semifinal opponents, Frisco Liberty and Lincoln and West Mesquite, those sort of teams. And so when you have, this sort of bracket with so many talented teams, and you have to take it every, one game at a time, can't look past anybody really in that sort of situation.
In the Texas State playoffs, you can't look past anybody. Several years ago we were a 4 seed and we knocked off a 1 seed. So remind the girls of that on a regular basis to keep them focused on one game at a time. And we're just kind of focusing on our 8-team bracket that we've got to get to the regional. Winning a regional would be a first for our program, so that's something we're really more focused on, getting to that regional so we have a chance to win it and do something that's never been done at North before.
We've talked a little bit about some offensive performances for your team, but talking about the defensive side of the ball, what have you seen your team do really well on defense throughout the season, and why are you such a good defensive team to hold teams sometimes to under 30 points?
This is the best defensive team I've personally ever had as a coach, probably the best one that we've had at North as far as, looking at defensive totals. We're giving up 37.4 points a game. I think that's 5th in the area. So, I think just defensively we're better, down the whole roster, girl for girl, than we've been in the past. And so when we bring our second and third waves in, which play quite a lot of basketball for us, there's really no defensive drop-off. The defensive intensity's there. They can all do run the defense that we're running. So I think that's probably been the key, in years past, not necessarily at North, but other places I've had. When you put the second wave in, they're just not as defensive-minded often, and so defense falters a little bit. But we've got 12 girls that can D up just about anybody. So I think that's been our key, and we've rebounded the ball at a higher clip this year than ever before.
Really in the playoffs, I think the fact that you have 12 or 13 girls that can come in and play that high level of basketball puts you at an advantage against some teams. Some teams, if 1 or 2 players get in foul trouble, it could be all over for them. And some teams, they get fatigued really easily. You're never going to have that fatigue problem and not really have much of a problem if somebody fouls out. You have that player that can step in for them.
I'm totally confident that the 7 girls that don't start for us could start. Wouldn't have a one qualm about starting any of them. And I feel often when we put our second wave in there, we usually go in with 3 or 4 people, about halfway through the first quarter, and they often overwhelm the, either the first team that's still in there from the opponent, or if they have made some rotations, we're just better than their second group. So real confident with that, and, like you said, I think that will give us an advantage in the playoffs.
You went undefeated in the district season. The boys from McKinney North are 1 game away from going undefeated in their district season. What is it about McKinney North High School, the basketball programs, what is it that has allowed you to become this dominant force in the area?
Well, I think it just all starts with the kids. They all care a great deal. They all live basketball. So it makes it easy for Coach Kraft and I to, put a team together. They're disciplined. They listen to what we try to teach them. And, they just live it and they feed off of each other's programs, I believe. I think the boys feed off the girls' program, and the girls, I know we feed off the boys' program. And, I think it's very exciting to have 2 quality teams like that.
I also know that McKinney North, that the students travel well to games, and you're going to expect some good atmosphere for these playoffs games.
We should definitely have some good atmosphere for our games. Maybe not tonight since we're an hour and a half, 2 hours away, but Friday night when we get back to the Metroplex, we'll certainly be expecting a big crowd.
Well, Coach Oldham, thanks again for joining us today, and good luck to you in the playoffs.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That's Coach Michael Oldham from McKinney North. Their girls basketball team went undefeated in the district season, 23-4 overall. They've got a good chance to make a deep playoff run. We wish all of the girls basketball teams luck in the postseason this week and hopefully beyond. Want to remind you that 2 teams are in action tonight. That's Monday night for those of you that may be watching the replay of this show. McKinney plays Skyline at 7:30 at Carrollton R.L. Turner High School, and North plays Mount Pleasant at 8 o'clock at Wills Point High School. On Tuesday, Boyd takes on Richardson in a 7:30 contest at Wiley High School. Next week, we find out how many boys basketball teams made the playoffs. Until then, from all of us here at Sports Talk, I'm Tyler Sloan. Enjoy your week.